It is up to the king where to live, and the couple have a range of options open to them, including Balmoral, Sandringham, and Windsor Castle. Buckingham Palace is so symbolic that the king will continue to use it, sources have said. But the couple are understood to prefer Clarence House, and this would also make the king's personal security arrangements more straightforward. Buckingham Palace is undergoing a 10-year renovation project, due for completion in 2027, which involves the upgrading of plumbing and reduction of its carbon footprint. But even after the builders have left, both King Charles and Queen Camilla are said to favour living at Clarence House. Once used by the Queen Mother and decorated by the late Robert Kyme, it is loved by the couple because of its coziness. Royal author Hugo Vickers explained, "No one wants to live in Buckingham Palace. It's like an Edwardian hotel. The state apartments on the Constitution hillside are a long succession of rooms, a library, drawing room, study and bedroom, which all come out into a corridor like a hotel, while the lower floors are occupied by offices. And the gardens are nice but overlooked. Clarence House would have been the Queen's choice too," said Mr. Vickers, "but when Winston Churchill demanded she lived at Buckingham Palace, she did so. Clarence House is like a country house in the middle of the city, what could be better than that? And it shares its garden with St. James's Palace," he said. "The king is nearly 74, and at that age one doesn't particularly want to upsize." Charles has inherited all of the Queen's properties, including Balmoral and Sandringham, which was passed on to him a few years ago. Clarence House is loved by the couple because of its coziness, image, pa. He retains his own private homes, Berkeley on the Balmoral estate and the Castle of Moy, and can use state-owned properties Buckingham Palace, St James's Palace and Clarence House, Kensington Palace, and Windsor Castle, as he wishes. The Duchy of Cornwall, now inherited by Prince William, also owns a 90-acre property in Carmarthenshire, Wales, of which the king is very fond. Mr. Vickers added, "There is a rumour that King Charles intends to turn over Balmoral to the nation, which would be a lovely memorial to the Queen. He is very keen on tourism in Scotland, and what better way to get people to rush up there?" Royal expert Margaret Holder added, "King Charles decides where he lives. I expect he and the Queen consort will use the private apartments at Buckingham Palace only occasionally and the staterooms for official banquets and state visits, even after renovations are completed. It will become his administrative centre. Windsor Castle, so beloved by the Queen and Prince Philip, may also be used," said Holder, "but they are likely to remain full-time at Clarence House, which they both love." "Remaining at Clarence House will give the King's protection teams a welcome continuity," said Di Davis, who commanded royal security operations as part of the Metropolitan Police's Royalty Protection Command Unit. The former chief superintendent said, "A full security review is underway now that Charles has acceded to the throne, and some of these details will depend on where the new king chooses to live." In terms of personal security, the former Prince of Wales was always at the highest level, counterintuitively called Level 2. Mr. Davis added, "Not only was he heir to the throne, but his position as honorary colonel of the Parachute Regiment was also known to make him a target for the IRA, who murdered his uncle, Lord Mountbatten." Buckingham Palace is undergoing a 10-year renovation project, image, Getty. "It means his first line of protection, a coterie of around 15 officers, will probably remain unchanged, though his principal protection officer will now lead the team, known as the King's Police Officer. All armed personal protection officers are trained in unarmed combat and discreetly carry a 9mm Glock 17 pistol, radio and a first aid kit." Mr. Davis said the squad is highly experienced and highly trained, adding, "Charles was always likely to keep his chief PPO, who is, in effect, his shadow, because personal relationships are important." But it is possible that the team will expand to fit in some of those who protected the Queen, though others will take her departure as an opportunity to retire. The second line of protection is known as his corridor officers, usually consisting of talented protection officers who are entering royal protection duties. Mr. Davis said, the Queen, who famously hated the idea of cameras inside Buckingham Palace, always had a corridor officer outside her staterooms. They are, in a sense, the last line of defense. It could be that Charles already had them inside Clarence House. If not, he will have them now. Currently, authorized firearms officers are expected to have the third highest level of fitness in the Met, with Davis noting, "I had gyms installed at every official royal residence for my officers to use." Technology will also play a vital role, with Clarence House already protected against any sort of external incursion. Trending the envelope is already closed airspace to civilian aircraft, and steps have been taken to counter any threat by drone, Mr. Davis said. As Prince of Wales, Charles had access both to armoured security cars and the services of the elite Social Escort Group, SEG, usually a team of 3 cars and 3 armed police motorcyclists. They ensure the convoy is always moving by using whistles, as the public has become immune to the siren noises. A risk assessment will be taken on all the King's movements by road, rail and air, and if necessary, the SEG will be deployed. Otherwise he will simply travel with the King's police officer and his team, said Mr. Davis. But, again, this does not represent such of a change from when he was Prince of Wales.